welcome to another episode of Walkworthy. I'm here with my friend, Andrew Yates, and it's almost like it was yesterday where I wandered into Hope Community Church, and I end up in Gary Vett's office, and I'm like, hey man, I've got this wild story. I used to do porn, and I stopped doing that about 2 or 3 years ago. At that point, we're talking over a decade ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I just want to figure it out. I was a basketball player. I was an actor. All these things. I really appreciate having a coach. So I want to follow Jesus, and I feel like I need a coach. Can you coach me? And he pointed me down the hall to your office, and man. We met, and we've been friends ever since. And I just want to thank you personally because you gave me time that you didn't have. My life is different, and that's the point. That's the point of disciple. I don't know why it makes me feel emotional, but
well, I mean, it's powerful. I think there's some memories that we have, or I have, where I look back and I say, I'm going to remember this forever.
Yeah.
And as I think about it, it's like I was right in the middle of what God was doing. And really my role, as I'm looking back, and that moment was just to say, God, I'll do what you want me to do. And in that conversation, I had so much going on, and I was totally out of left field. That was not on my calendar. That was not my plan. And I was way too busy as I've ever been in my life. And God said, this is your job, Pastor. Your job is to disciple people. And this is a guy that wants to be discipled, and you're going to pass along to him what other busy guys have slowed down to pass along to you. And that time in the hallway was, it was like being Terry Tate office linebacker. Just, it wasn't you tackling, it was the Holy Spirit saying, hey, you're focused right here, we're going somewhere else. And it changed my life as well. And
I wanna back up and just kind of give you the opportunity to introduce yourself and some of the stuff you're doing now. But in that moment, I many times have told the story. And as I become more entrenched in ministry over the last many years, I used to tell the story of like he had time to do that. It's like you lovingly corrected me. It's like I had no time and no desire to do that.
Yeah. Well, and it really was God, as clear as God's ever spoke to me. It wasn't audible, but God said to me, and I had planned to say, all right, we'll sit down and I'll just share this. Okay, here's the grid, here's the system, have a good life. I've got 30 minutes, and that's where I'm feeling like I'm being generous. And you tell me your story. And it wasn't, your story is really powerful, and it's super intense, but I think it's your desire to say, I'm available for whatever God has for me. And as that came across, I felt, deep in my heart, God saying, you're going to give this guy as much time as he can handle. And so I said, all right, well, here we're going to do this, this, and this. And you're like, great. And then I said, all right, when you're done, let me know, we'll connect. And in 2 or 3 days, you're like, well, I've done all that, now what? And I was like, oh, okay. And so, it was high speed, low drag. We were getting serious. We weren't wasting any time. And it was real.
Yeah.
And it was, when you are doing what you love, what God made you to do, you've got more time than you realize.
Yeah.
And there's something about having hobbies. Like an artist can sit down and or a guitarist or a parent
or an expert chili maker.
Or if you're out there making chili in Texas, and no one stresses out. Well, that might take 5 or 6 hours. You got to let it soak, and then you got to let it go overnight. And you're like, whoa, if this is what you're supposed to do, you're going to do it. This is what you were made to do. So, there's it's like kids take a lot of time, and kids are inconvenient, but they're worth it.
Yeah.
And if you look at a spreadsheet that talks about how many hours it's going to take to raise this kid, nobody would sign up for it.
Right.
But once you've, look at every grandparent. They're like, man, this is the joy of my life.
Yeah.
And you're not my child, but as I hear about how your life has been changed like mine has, and how you pass along what's been handed to you, that's a grandparent level joy. There's no jealousy, and it's so pure. And I love you, and I love what God's doing in your life. I mean, let's meet right now. What are we talking about? You know,
that's so cool.
How busy is Grandpa's not too busy. Grandma's not too busy. Let's sit down and talk. That's where I'm at today.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I just want to kind of go back to, so you were, it's just thinking back to how big the world is, but how small the world is.
Oh yeah.
So JP was on 2 episodes ago.
Love that guy.
And just the fact that he impacted your life in a way, you going through the Watermark Institute and him being part of that, and us having a relationship now, and this giant discipleship circle. But would you just talk about really quick, who is Andrew Yates? We got to give your. I feel like Kelli is somewhere between like a genius and a mad scientist.
She's both.
But give her some love. But just tell, who is Andrew Yates? Like what's going on in your life now?
You mentioned the Watermark Institute. I think backing up even more than that. So I went to Texas A&M, Whoop. Did civil engineering, and really didn't know what I was going to do. And I felt like.
Would you share the ice cream story in the middle of this?
Which ice cream story?
Well, is it true, like when you were you were getting ice cream and you started talking to someone, and that's kind of where you kind of settled where I'm going to go to seminary?
So
sorry, I'm all over the place.
No, this is great. So so there came a point where going into college, I was interested in going to seminary because I had questions about God, and my church is like, oh, don't worry about it. Those are questions you ask in seminary. And I'm like, well, if God is real, we need to be willing to lean into these hard questions, because if he's not real, there's other things we can be doing.
Right.
Let's quit wasting our time. But if God is real, then we definitely need to double down on this. Let's not pretend like he isn't. And I ended up getting a civil engineering degree, and so there comes a point where it's like, well, am I going to go to seminary or not? And the week I decided, okay, I'm going to not go chase this engineering role and the comfort that would have. I'm going to go to seminary, and I don't know how I'm going to pay for it, but I'm going to apply. And that week I applied. I'm working at Starbucks, and I'm just talking with the people. Okay, great. Get your frappes or frappuccino or whatever. I don't know. Get your lattes. And the guy behind them is like, hey, so I'm a recruiter, and I've got 7 people that I've recruited at this recruiting fair here at Texas A&M. I was supposed to get 8. I see you've got an Aggie ring on, so you're about to graduate. I'd like to hire you for 6 figures right now, starting out as an engineer. And I'm like, I'll take your business card, but I feel like it was a gut check. It was God saying, if you want to go to seminary, that's great. You don't have to, but it was an opportunity to say, no, this is what I am going to do. I'm committed to going to seminary. I don't have to, but this is what I'm going to do. And I feel like that was I needed to focus and lean in, because seminary was super tough. I was talking with a guy walking in, graduate of the same school where I ended up going, Dallas Theological Seminary. Man, it was tough. Way harder, actually, than civil engineering was. But was jumping in with seminary, and it was great. It was a lot of fun, but really it was the relationships. And this just earlier as a sidebar conversation. It's the relationships and connecting with the people that impacts you deeply.
Yeah.
I mean, the lessons and the charts and the flashcards, those are all good.
Yeah.
And the stuff we talked about, like vaguely, we talked about these things, but really it's us growing together in our relationship with each other and with God.
Yeah.
That's the formative thing. And we were hanging out. There's some things opened up for me where I could hang around more, serve the church more. And I was up at Watermark, and this was before the Institute really got off. And I'm like, hey, I've got like 10 hours a week. Can I just do anything? So I'm just sweeping floors. I'm like, I'm just want to serve some way. I want to not be reading, not writing papers. And eventually I got hanging out with some of those guys, but it was the relationships. with the John Elmores and just all those guys. Love them tremendously. And left there and was a pastor in Raleigh. And I kind of got caught up in the trap of being busy. Managing so many stuff, or so many things, doing great things. But as far as like my job is to, as a Christian, not even as a pastor, is to love God and love my neighbor as myself. I wasn't loving my neighbor or myself very well because I was moving too fast.
Yeah, I think just knowing what I know about what was going on in that season in your life, you were the title was like area pastor at one point, and where you're overseeing, the development of small groups and a ton of other stuff at the campus. But I just remember the season of your life where you weren't doing a lot of one-on-one discipling and teaching. Mm-mm. And I think it's just a word for someone out there that you're never more fulfilled than when you're doing the thing in which God created you to do.
Yeah.
And there's a hunger for that, and that's the Holy Spirit kind of, giving you an elbow in the ribs and saying, hey, you enjoy this because this is part of your divine design that I put in you. Mm-hmm. And there's also a holy discontentment when you're not doing the thing. So I would love for you just kind of to speak to maybe the person that's doing a good thing, but they're having, from the outside in, they're having success, but they're wrestling with this discontentment.
Oh, sure.
Because they know that they're not doing the thing that God wants them to do, and they're actually desiring to do.
Yeah. So, when I jumped into this role at this church, Watermark was a place where if you didn't have a seminary degree and your MBA, it is a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And jumping in with the church in Raleigh, the founding pastor, cowboy.
Yeah.
Right? Like shooting from the hip, Wild West almost. Mega church.
Yeah.
But as far as a budget or as far as a calendar, and I remember we had hundreds of people asked to join a small group.
Yeah.
And some of the pastors had never seen a spreadsheet. And so what they would do is they'd get this list of information, all these people looking for a small group, days of the week, all this stuff. They would cut out every single line so they could rearrange the lines alphabetically or by day of week. They didn't know spreadsheets could be sorted in the computer. And it's like, oh my goodness. So as an engineer, that was I was like, no, stop. I'm not preaching John 3:16. I'm not doing a prayer. I'm doing a devotional.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you with your spreadsheets.
Right.
And for me, that was death. I'm not the administrator. I'm not the calendar manager. I'm not the guy that's going to get back to you with emails. That stuff stresses me out. But they needed it so bad. I had to step in.
Yeah.
I had to help out.
Yeah.
I'm asking questions like, what does a small group leader do? When is a small group a big group? And they're like, man, these are great questions. Can you just run all adult ministry outside of the weekend? I'm like, sure, I guess. And I think for a season, that would have been great.
Yeah.
But the trap is if you're using a hammer as a screwdriver, it'll work in a crunch, but you can't do that for long.
Right.
You're going to break everything.
Yeah.
You need a screwdriver to screw in a screw. That's what you need.
Right.
And if you are not operating in your gifts, you can't do that forever.
Right.
And God didn't make you to do that. And you have to trust God with whatever it is. And you've got to trust God that He'll take care of you.
Yeah.
A temptation for me in that time was, well, this is the job they need. If I don't do it, I don't have a job.
Sure.
This is the job they need. If I don't do it, it won't happen.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because again, you look at that from an outside perspective. It's like that seems like a problem that's like it's tough to be struggling with.
Yeah.
But that's the same type of thinking.
Yeah.
I'm going pretty extreme here, but the same type of thinking of people pleasing in that, well, like a girl saying, well, I need to do this that someone loves me, or I need to dress like this so that someone loves me, or a guy thinking, well, I don't have any like intellectual value, so the way I'm going to overcompensate that is some kind of aesthetic or car or something. And I think that's just like our thinking in that. There's something inadequate in me, and if I'll allow the enemy to get a stronghold in that, I'll just keep doing this thing that because I'm good at it, or I'm serving a need, or I look like I'm good enough, but I'll get stuck there, and that's the trap, like getting stuck in that.
Well, so when people ask me to share my testimony, I talk about when I was a kid, I trust what my parents told me, and that's when I think I first came to be part of the family of God, but I think when I really started to walk in my faith, my identity was completely wrapped up. My self-worth was if I have someone who's dating me. And high school girlfriend broke up with me, and it was drama. I'm failing out of college. I mean, I'm the guy that passed the class, not the guy that thrived. I mean, I had professors like, promise me you're not going to make a bridge. I'm like, I promise. I'm going to seminary, but I'm barely hanging on. And I was walking to tutoring, off-campus tutoring, and I remember the spot. Again, it was like that moment where you and I met. Things slowed down, and it was right where I felt like God was right there with me. And I felt like God was saying, you are working so hard, and you are so stressed, but you don't have the time to find a girlfriend. You don't have the energy. You don't have the wisdom to find a girlfriend that you could maybe marry, that's marriage potential. You can't do that. You say that there's a God who loves you. Do you trust me or not? Are you going to let me carry this and provide for you what you need when you need it? Or are you not going to pretend like I have to control things and there's a God? And I remember that moment. I said in my heart, God, I don't have my life together. It's not where I want to be, but I trust you. I trust that you know what I need, and if I don't have this thing, a girlfriend at the time, I must not need it, and you're going to give me what I need when I do, and I'm going to give that to you. And it was like, I'd been carrying a weight and not realized it, and I was like stood up straight. I was like, oh, and my life didn't change. Like I didn't get a girlfriend that night, but I was able to be what God designed me to be in that season. And that was a season where I needed to do administrative things like crazy. And okay, that's fine, but I couldn't have done even that well if I hadn't trust God with this thing that was completely distracting me, that was inappropriate for me to give energy to. So, but God loves us, and he knows what we need, and he's able to give it to us. And if we try to control that, well, we're carrying a load that only God can carry, and that's going to kill us.
I think the weekend before we moved to Oklahoma, when I stepped on staff at Life Church, you preached essentially that sermon. I forget what church it was at. It wasn't at the church that we attended. It was at maybe a buddy of yours' church. But that's the sermon you preached. You preached about the yoke that we were never designed to carry, but Jesus was.
Jesus says, "My yoke is easy, my burden is light." And when someone's heavy and burdened, they've got a lot going on in the world. You don't think, oh yeah, what I need is to take on someone else's yoke. But the idea is, oxen have two oxen to a yoke, and if I can get up next to Jesus, he's already carrying a load, and if I can let him carry the load, and I can learn just to keep in step with Jesus, man, I'm not carrying the weight, he is. And if I'm carrying the weight, that means I'm fighting against God, and if you fight against God, you lose. So.
I think you did such a good job of painting that picture. I still remember a lot of the, just the parallels that you drew. But you're talking about, this like grown, developed oxen, and then this like this little weak oxen. It's like you're on the same yoke, but it's like if you're trying to lead the way,
you're going to lose.
You're going to lose it. It's not going to go well.
So oxen actually, farmers with oxen, they don't like muscle them like you would a horse. They're voice controlled. So, the Cowboys say yee-haw, that's wrong. That's absolutely Hollywood. Yee means go left, and haw means go right. And so you train these ox to be voice controlled. So you say yee, and they start guiding to the left. And so the way that you train an ox is you have a big bull ox that knows these commands, yoked to just a calf, just a young ox that just doesn't know anything. And when the farmer says, "Giddy up, let's go," well, it doesn't matter what the little ox wants to do. That little ox is going.
Yeah.
And the little ox's job is just to learn to listen to the farmer, to learn what the commands mean, and to keep in step with this bull ox next to him that's carrying the weight. And that's our role as Christians. If we're heavy burdened, if we can just put ourselves next to Jesus and say, "Jesus, can you carry this load?" And he can. Our job is just to listen. Just like the thing with you, when you and I met, my job, not as a pastor, but as a Christian, is to listen and say, "God, what do you want me to do?" And when God says, "We're going left, this is not the direction we were going," okay, that's where we're going. And he carries the load, and it's what you were designed to do, designed to be. And so I think, I was just talking with a guy yesterday, the whole world is crazy. And this guy's like, I don't know, like stepping into this, nothing is where I want it to be right now. And I can't even plan, a month in the future because everything is insane.
Sure.
And the question is, where is God going? And where is God? And get right next to him.
Yeah.
And it's going to be awesome. It'll be crazy. You might be in the middle of a storm, but it'll be so peaceful with Jesus, he can take a nap.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that story because you look back, I think it's like Mark 4, but you look back at that story and you see the disciples freaking out because they're in the storm and Jesus is asleep and then Jesus is up, peace be still. But I love, if you go back, whose idea was it to get on the boat?
Yeah. They're just following Jesus.
Yeah.
They are just doing what Jesus said to do.
Yeah. And I love that, like, sometimes following Jesus, there will be a circumstance or, some kind of interaction. Something will happen.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, this is terrible. Why is this happening?
Yeah.
And then in that moment, if you're trusting him, it's like, hey, what we're going through is maybe not, your plan A, plan B, plan C. Maybe it's not what you would desire to happen at all, but I promise you that I'm here with you and I've gone before you, and it's going to be good for you because it's going to actually equip you for something I have for you next.
Yeah, I think the heart posture of like the Israelites is the gut check that I have. Where you've got God literally going before you in a cloud or in huge fire at night.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, there's a lot of power here. And God knew what they needed.
Yeah.
And they grumble and they complain. That's the real problem, is they don't trust God.
Yeah.
They're grumbling. I don't have what and James says, you don't have it because you haven't asked.
Yeah.
Just ask your Father. And I think God wants to be in a relationship with you. He wants to carry that load. He wants to meet your needs, but most importantly, he wants to have a relationship. And so if I have all that I need in my room, I'm never going to talk to Dad.
Right.
But I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I need to eat. I need to go to school. And all these interactions are opportunities to have a relationship with my Father. And if I'm just like, Dad hates me, like, no, you need food. Let's get food. Let's do it. And I think we might face challenges. We might be in a desert. There might be a famine.
Yeah.
And it might be really, really, really hard. But I think Job in all his, just terribleness. And God called Job righteous not because he didn't say it wasn't terrible. And I didn't come up with this, but I love this idea. Job kept coming back to God. Mm-hmm. He kept coming back and saying, God, I don't understand. This doesn't feel right. This isn't good. But he never abandoned God. He never just walked away.
Right. And it just, what you were saying a minute ago kind of makes me think, Numbers 13, they get to the promised land, send in the spies, and then everyone but Caleb and Joshua are like, yeah, the land's prosperous. There's these gigantic grapes. There's all this stuff. But there's these big guys and these big fortitude walls.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go back to bondage in
slavery.
Egypt. But it's so easy to forget about the Red Sea, the manna from heaven, the water from the rock, the cloud of fire, and so on and so on.
We forget so quickly.
Yeah.
We forget so quickly.
So how do you personally, and how would you advise to someone, maybe you've been walking with Jesus for a while, but you're in a season where the reality is you've forgotten and you need to be reminded. How do you recalibrate? Like, what would you say to someone that, man, I've gotten really busy. Maybe you've got young kids, and the kids and the job and everything has become a priority.
Yeah.
And everything that you used to do to recalibrate is maybe not working or maybe not even feasible for your life.
Yeah.
How do you get back in step with God?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest trap is busyness. And the idea that you are too busy for whatever it is a lie.
Yeah.
Is a lie. If you're too busy to sleep, if you're too busy to love people around you, you're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't need to. Sleep and love is free. Friendship is free.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. And I think it's not good to be alone is page 1 of the Bible. And I don't know where Adam was when Eve's talking to the snake, but he's off doing something.
Yeah.
And we can't be too busy to have someone that we are friends with and are being challenged and are challenging in our faith. I think you mentioned having a child. You think you're good, and then you have a kid, and you realize, there's some ugly in me.
Yeah.
I'm not patient.
Yeah.
I'm not kind. I'm not gentle. Not nearly as much as I thought I was.
Yeah.
And God will use this to bring it out. And I think one of the things that was really helpful for our interaction is you were as far as Christian, a baby Christian, like a newborn Christian.
Yeah, infant.
You're like, I don't even know where to start.
Right.
And I feel like when you have to break things down and say, all right, here are the 2 or 3 things that you need to hold on for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Just how do you walk with God? How do you, there's this idea that you know what you're doing. The wisest man who ever lived said, God, I don't know what I'm doing. I need your wisdom. The strongest man who ever lived. All these things, that strength comes from God. What you're seeking, it comes from God. Just that basic idea. Every time you help say, what's the foundation of your faith? I mean, that's discipleship. Yeah. And then how do you walk into that? That's discipleship. And as I'm discipling someone, well, it's a lesson for me, if that makes sense.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, I want to touch on 2 things you said, but talking about parenting, a good friend of mine, Justin Whitmar Early, he talks about how in the crucible, when you've asked LBJ, one too many times.
Yeah.
When you've asked your child, little baby John is the reference.
Well, he's bigger than I am right now.
Right.
8 years, I mean, he's a monster. So don't call him little anymore. Not little John, big John.
But just thinking about, like, when you're in the middle, of the chaos of the home, for us, it's the hour leading to dinner is just like nuclear bombs are going off. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But he's talking about, like, in the middle of your frustration, like, how you interact with your child is a really clear picture of anything that is unsettled with you.
Yeah.
Just any kind of, like, eruption or frustration.
Yeah.
Because it's you. It's not that they're being bad. It's like they can't regulate their emotions. And for you, the same thing is happening, and something is coming out of you. Is like you just want them, to listen or to stop or whatever it might be.
Well, there's an emotion in you that's not regulated.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
When I left after about 6 or 7 years of that church in Raleigh, my wife had an opportunity to go back to her engineering role.
And let's just give Kelli some love.
Shout out to Kelli.
Really quick. She has a pretty cool job.
Yeah, so she is an aerospace engineer, makes helicopter blades. So cool. It's unbelievable. I'll have like a great conversation. I'll get tacos for lunch, and she's like, well, I grounded every helicopter on Earth this afternoon. Oh, my goodness. It's such a cool job. But so she had an opportunity to go back to that cool job. She stayed at home, raised the kids, kept them alive for 6 or 7 years. And then once they started going into school, she was like, I would like to go back to being an engineer. I love being a mom. I want to go back to being an engineer. And that same semester, her old company called and said, hey, we've got this new program ramping up. We need your skills. And after COVID, being a pastor through that, I was ready for a break after 6 or 7 years.
Sure.
So we moved back, and I didn't have any plans. And again, my identity is like, what am I doing? I'm kind of wandering. I'll keep the kids alive, through the summer, get them into school, then I'll figure something out. And I distinctively remember just being so mad at these kids. I think they were 3 and 5 at the time, or maybe 4 and 6. And I really felt like God was saying, you're really angry. Are we going to talk about this now, or are we going to talk about this later? Like, are we going to lean into this now? And you seem upset right now. And God used that to help, just like with these kids, like you're saying, there's an unregulated emotion. At their best, they weren't being bad. They didn't know how to be upset and not freak out.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on in my heart is these kids weren't impressed. They didn't care what my titles were or my job description or my business card. They want this thing, or they're tired, or they're whatever.
Yeah.
And it made me mad. And I think that's a moment for God. He was challenging me to say, hey, are we going to lean in? And the thing that I found is leaning in always involves somebody else. It's not just me and God. And God's like, all right, better. I mean, he can do that. And sometimes he does that.
Yeah. But
typically it's in community that I'm going to grow healthier.
Right.
And that's been what I've seen since.
Yeah.
I think that's the same thing with kids. Kids aren't going to just figure it out. Hey, quit being angry. You're grounded.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk through this. What's going on? Why are you upset?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here. I'm with you. You're right. We're up a little late. Let's get some sleep. Whatever it is.
It's wild because, pretty much same scenario every morning. Judah, our 3-year-old, almost 5, he wants butter toast. And if he doesn't have butter toast within 5 minutes of him waking up, he loses his mind.
Yeah.
And he just wants the toast.
Yeah.
He's not angry at anyone.
He hasn't learned patience.
He hasn't learned patience.
It's not a fruit of Judah. That's a fruit of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just like, and when he gets super upset, there's nothing I can say to him.
Yeah.
Like, he needs me to get down on his level and give him a hug.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then once I do that, he's all ears.
But I'm a busy guy.
Yeah.
Don't you know, kid, that I've got things to do?
Right.
I've got a meeting today. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
No, what I need to do is get down and love him well.
Yeah.
And if I don't have the patience to do that, I'm doing the same thing he is.
Right. Right. It's
a cycle.
It's so true. So where do you find yourself now? So full circle.
Yeah.
What are you doing now?
Yeah. So the world is crazy. Yeah. The world is totally crazy. And I was not the only pastor in the world that was too busy to love the new Christian and say, hey, let's sit down and I'm going to make space I can't disciple everybody,
right?
But I can be focused on one person. I can, and a thing that I've been challenged with lately is, what does it look like to be faithful to the huge job that I might have, but still be focused on a few? And that's what Jesus did. I mean, he had these huge crowds that are chasing him everywhere.
Yeah.
And he still withdrew. He still pulled aside and said, I can't lose focus on investing in these few guys real intentionally. And like what I've seen with our relationship, I did a lot of really cool things, and there was a lot of like mountaintop experiences in my role at this church. But the most precious thing that I did, the thing that really matters, is the few guys that I invested in really close, really intentionally, that I really love. You can't love a brand, you can't be loved by a crowd, but we were all designed to be loved and to love. And you can only do that if you're focused and attention, like you are with your kids.
Yeah.
Like there's nobody else in the room at 7:05 when the butter toast explosion happens. It's exclusive, right? I've still got my big thing, but I can't lose sight of what I'm focused on with the small community that God has given me to love. But one of the things that I found, it's embarrassing how God went before me. Not too long after God was working on my heart, revealing, hey, there's a lot of anger, Pastor, that still need. You haven't arrived yet. A friend of mine from seminary, he reached out and he goes, Baxter, we call him Bax. He goes, hey, you're back in town. Let's get burgers. I go, oh, Bax, that'd be great. So let's meet on campus. I'm on staff now at Dallas Seminary or Dallas Theological Seminary. Let's meet on campus, then we'll go get burgers. Oh, great. So I go up there, and he's got an office. You have an office on campus. This is incredible. And he's like, yeah. Here, let's go back here. And I look on his door. It says Dr. Herman Baxter. I go, Bax, you're a doctor. It says here you're the dean of students. This is incredible. And I just was totally blown away. He had a staff. I was like, man, in the last 6 or 7 years, you really have made something of yourself. But then we went out for burgers, and I didn't know it was a job interview until I had half eaten my burger. It was embarrassing. But really, what had happened is about a year before I got there, we had 2 guys come to the school and say, within the same month, and say, we love discipling people one-on-one, real intentionally, like you and I, where the goal is not just how do I disciple you to be a learner, a follower, but it's also a reproducer. Like every time we talked about something, it's like, all right, here's this concept. All right, how would you explain this to somebody? Because the expectation is not that you just grow healthy as a Christian. The idea is you grow as a follower of Jesus, and you learn and you're able to encourage and share that with others.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, we want to do this with seminary students. And the seminary's like, you want to do that for free? That'll be fine. We'll allow it. And so they sent out an email, and 300 students said, nobody has ever discipled me.
Wow.
300 of people that are giving their lives to serve Christ.
And to be clear, at one of the most established,
huge. We just celebrated 100 years. This is not like, this is a credentialed program. This is an institution, and hundreds of people that are leaders in these student groups, leaders in the classroom, leaders in their churches say, no one has ever sat down with me and just one-on-one said, here's the foundation of what it looks like to build your life on your relationship with Christ, and then here's how you encourage someone else with that.
Yeah.
And the president was like, okay, this is not an email that goes out once a semester. We've got to have somebody keep the eye on the ball, and that's what they were interviewing for. Yeah. And so my role at the school now is it's wild. I don't know that it exists anywhere else, but the president said, if you can encourage anyone anywhere on earth to grow in discipleship, do that. And he's serious. So like I'm going up to Chicago right after a conversation here to connect some friends up there to say, hey, what can we do to encourage the church to not lose sight of our first love?
Yeah.
What does God call us to? First, it's to make disciples of all nations.
Yeah. And so based on that, I want you, before our time ends, and you have to actually go make that flight.
No, it's no rush. We got it.
So 2 questions. Number 1, just to get super practical.
Yeah.
I just remember this like aha moment where we're sitting together. We're in your office. You know, we're going after that dry erase board that was behind you that we wore out.
Yeah.
You were teaching me something, and like I from a skill set standpoint, like as a theater guy and quarterback, stuff like that, it's like I could process information. I could, take in information and regurgitate it. Mm-hmm. But you challenged me in that, hey, I'm going to teach you something, and now I want you to teach it back to me. I don't want you to say exactly what I said.
Yeah.
I want you to make sense of it because of what you said.
Yeah. And
now I want you to help me understand it.
Yeah.
So that I show you that I actually understand it. Relatively simple concept. But that was game changer in my life. So if you're talking about discipleship, I think there's 2 things. There's that I want to touch on, and then the second part that we've kind of been talking about this entire conversation, like 1 Thessalonians, talking about like the idea of discipleship, not just being, hey, we're going to sit together and read a portion of Scripture and nod our heads and pray. It's that I'm going to let you get close enough to me that you see the stains on my T-shirt.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you. This is how I navigate through conflict. Yeah. This is how I talk to my wife. Yeah. This is how I parent.
Yeah.
This is how I respond when something doesn't go my way.
Yeah.
And me seeing Christ in you and you being a Christian in that way taught me how to be a follower of Jesus. Mm-hmm. And I think like that in itself is the stuff that rubbed off on me that I use every day.
Yeah.
So would you just speak to that and then go back to just the practicality of you're teaching someone how to understand, something like, let's say we're going through the book of John, observation, interpretation, application, but you're reading the Bible. Mm-hmm. And you need to understand what you're reading.
Yeah.
How do you teach someone that in a simplistic way? So firstly, why is it important that you share your life with someone in that way? And secondly, let's get real practical. you are, in my mind, you taught me how to understand the Bible, and it opened up knowledge, but also it gave me a relationship with the Bible, and I fell in love with it, and I thank you for that. And that's what someone asked me, hey, how did you go from being a porn star to preaching the Bible? Well, I fell in love with the Bible, and you pointed me to it.
Wow.
So would you just respond to those two things?
Sure. Well, so thank you for that. That's so encouraging. Love you tremendously, and but I want to push back a little bit. One of the guys that influenced me a ton at the seminary, his name was Dr. Pentecost, which is a perfect professor name. But he was teaching a class. He was like 98 teaching this class, 97.
Yeah.
I mean, ancient of days. And he said in that class he's never had an original idea.
Yeah.
He's just passing other people's ideas
Sure.
along. And so I want to be careful not to give the impression that I am like the guru that has all the information. These are, the stuff that we talked about. Yeah. I had a passion for.
Yeah.
And I'm sharing that passion passionately.
Yeah.
And I think if that's what every good parent does and every good teacher does.
Yeah.
The teachers that you love the most from school, you probably didn't care about the subject, but the passion was contagious.
Sure.
And I think it's interesting to me, the word Christian only happens a couple times in the Bible, but discipleship happens hundreds of times in the Bible. But no one knows what discipleship is. There was a recent study that came out just a few years ago that said everyone keeps using this word, but no one agrees on what it means. And I think if it reminds me of like parenting. My goal is that I have a healthy child that grows, but also that they go out and contribute to society eventually, right? Like that's got to be in there somewhere. Please leave and go have a huge, wonderful life. Come back every once in a while, but I think as far as like what is the plan for what is the best discipleship curriculum? Well, the best discipleship curriculum is the one that changed your life or the one that you wrote. And if you are super hyped and passionate about that, man, run with that. And there's good ones out there.
Yeah.
And we use a couple great ones at the school, but I think the first thing is recognizing what are the foundational truths and sitting down in my own life and saying, man, if I get an hour with this guy, what is the thing that he has to walk away with? And I have to make sure he understands before he leaves. And if those things are convictions in your heart, those are going to come across big time.
Yeah.
I think, because life and death is in that. And if you have that level of seriousness, I think that's a game changer. And I think it's not just growing someone up; it's growing them up to where they are able to own that and do that themselves.
Yeah.
So as soon as I can teach my firstborn to get the cereal from the shelf and make her own breakfast, I never have to do it again. Right? Like, doesn't matter how many children I have, they all can get cereal now because the firstborn can teach the secondborn this is how we get food.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm hoping to do with everyone I disciple.
Yeah.
Man, let me show you what people have shown me.
Yeah.
But the goal is not for you to get the whole thing. The goal is not for me to write a commentary. Yeah. You are my commentary. Yeah. Let me teach you how to dig and to find. And if you teach others, it's like a giant pyramid scheme. Yeah. It scales. But I think it is really embarrassing how much I underestimate Jesus. I look at Jesus and I confess that he's the smartest, wisest, most brilliant person that ever lived. But a lot of times I'm like, I can do it better. And what did he do? He was faithful, but he was also super focused, and he asked questions all the time. And I think that was what we did. Hey, tell me, what does that mean? How do we understand? If you're not asking more questions and listening than you are talking, you're not like Jesus. And Jesus sent his boys out. Like, it was like we've been hanging out for, 10 months, 12 months, and he's sending them out 2 by 2 to other cities to represent him, to go scope out. Real ministry decisions are being made. And I think if you're not ready in a year to send out the people that you're investing in, I don't know that you're taking it as seriously as Jesus did.
Yeah.
And we weren't done. We'd come back. We'd debrief. I mean, that's what Jesus did. Hey, go out. All right, come back. How's it going? What's out there? Let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
And they're asking him questions. Why can we not cast out this demon? And he's like, well, you need to pray to invite God to cast out the demon. You know, it's real simple foundational stuff a lot of times we miss. But I think allowing people to actually be tested and asking questions, you don't know what you don't know until you've gone out and tried to do it.
Yeah, that's really good. A friend of mine, Drew Worsham, he interestingly, he's an illusionist and a pastor.
Is he a magician or just an illusionist?
Well, he doesn't call himself as a magician just
Okay.
because of the. But it was so interesting, and we'll end on this. And I think you'll have something brilliant to offer. But he talks about how he uses magic in the same way that Jesus would use a parable, in that it's a distraction, but I'm also taking you somewhere. And when I get you to where I'm taking you, here's the trick.
Yeah.
There's a truth that's behind it, and I want to share that with you. So as you're diving in the Bible and you're looking at some of these parables, but also some of these questions, when you get to Jesus simply asking Peter and the other disciples, "Who do you say that I am?"
Yeah.
Why is that such a simple but such an important question to continue to not just ask yourself the first time, but continue to ask yourself?
Yeah, I think the foundation is what's most important. If your foundation is bad, the whole thing it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. And one of the benefits of discipleship is it starts every time with, who am I? What matters the most about me? What am I doing here? Why does things matter? And every time you connect with someone in discipleship, it starts with that. And it's new for that person, but a lot of time it's renewed on the individual who's discipling the other person.
Yeah.
And you've got to keep coming back to that because we forget.
I think in that, Peter forgot.
How did Peter forget?
Yeah, I mean, then you get to John 21, and Jesus saying, "Well, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me?" And I love that kind of the bridge that, or what we said earlier, what I'm talking about now, where Jesus asked him, "Hey, do you love me? Do you agape me? I can't commit to that. Well, do you even phileo me? Do you even love me like a brother?" And as much as that stung, he was like, "Yeah, you know that I do." And then Jesus said to him, "Well, you blew it. Go back to fishing.
Yeah.
You're good at fishing.
Yeah.
That's where I found you. You were a fisherman. You're self-identified as a fisherman.
Yeah.
You were good at catching fish. That's how you made money. Is that who you are?
Mm-hmm.
No. Go feed my sheep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what I'm calling you to do.
Yeah.
So if you love me, I'm asking you to trust who I tell you are."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
More than who you think you are, or what you're good at.
Yeah. The first letter that John, the disciple of Jesus, he was in the inner circle.
Yeah.
He was a disciple, but he was in the really close group of Jesus.
Yeah.
He's taking notes, and he, on behalf of Jesus, write letters to the churches. And the first letter is to a mega church in the ancient world, and he says, You're able to discern all these things, all these nuanced things, and that's good, but you've forgotten your first love.
Yeah.
And I think the most important thing, if a child doesn't have love, it's going to fail to flourish, fail to thrive. And we need that reminder every day, that God loves me as much as God loves this person, that as much as I love a child. I think I know what love is. And then I became a middle schooler. And I met my girlfriend in middle school. And then I thought, oh, this is it. And then I get into high school. And then I get married. And then I have a child. And, grandparents always say, if I knew how much fun being a grandparent was, I would have started with that. There is a level of love that God has for us that I don't believe. It's so great. And I forget.
Yeah.
And my kids and I forget how much my dad loves me, how much my wife loves me, how much my kid. I need that reminder. Because I forget. And every time I'm investing in someone, it has to start with that foundation of love. And apart from that, we'll wither and die. But that's what we were made for. No matter what you're doing, you were made to be someone that invests in others because it's good for them, but more importantly, it's good for you. And most importantly, that's what God made us all to do.
Oh, man. Well, I think we'll end with that. And I just want to say I love you so much, and I'm so grateful for you. And thank you for saying yes to me when you didn't have time.
Well, love you tremendously, Josh. Thanks for this.